Hey guys, so it's time for the second video on my tips of working through the dirty little secret, right? So what I found is when all the abuse started happening that I was the only person that I could trust. But I didn't trust me. And it's taking me a really long time to start learning how to trust me. Because when you feel like you have been violated or your space has been disrespected or taken from you, it's like you're left with this emptiness. Or at least for me, that's the case. I felt like a part of me had been taken. And I didn't trust anybody. I didn't trust anybody in my family. And I was like, well, I'll trust me, right? But then I start doubting everything that I thought to be true. And I didn't trust me. So, for me, I feel like when you realize that, I had to start learning how to trust myself. And even if I didn't like the consequences, right, I still honored how I felt and how I felt like I should move through things and trusting my gut or my intuition and moving forward. And it's not been the easiest process for me, that's for sure. But it definitely has been rewarding. I'm learning each day how to trust me more and more, which I think is a really big thing, because when you don't even trust yourself, like, how can you trust anyone else? And how can you respect anyone else? Because it's almost in essence that you don't respect yourself, because then you're no longer good enough. And that has been one of my biggest things to work through, is being good enough, being enough. That has been the hardest lesson for me. And I think it's a day-by-day process. And I don't know that you ever work through everything completely, but I do think that it gets easier, right? So as it progresses, it gets a little bit easier to trust yourself, and then you start trusting your judgment, and then you can expand on trusting other people. Now, I will tell you that I've had people in my circle that I trust with my life and with my kids' life, and those people are very near and dear to me. And it didn't come easy, and there's a lot of tears, blood, and sweat in those relationships. And I found it a lot easier for me to pour into other people versus pouring into myself. And then I just had to tell myself something different. I had to change the tape that was in my head. So my mantra, and I know a lot of my clients that watch this know this mantra very well, is I am enough, I have enough, I do enough. Because when you start telling yourself something different, you're changing the tape that plays in your head. And even if you don't believe it, because for a long time I didn't believe it. But then the funniest thing happened, right? I start believing it little by little, and I'm learning how to love and embrace me. And this is just another step of working through being abused, being molested, being taken advantage of. And the last video I posted, somebody made a comment about boys. Listen, these videos are to help anyone, and I think that it goes both ways. This is just an outlet on how I started working through my stuff and things that come from my business and what I found and how to incorporate that, because I think that there's not enough resources for people that have been abused or that have been touched or disrespected in that manner, because it changes the way you feel about yourself in an instant. And it has taken me years to build it to a better place than what it was. So that's my tip, is learn how to start trusting yourself, because I know that I didn't trust anyone, and that leads for a really empty road for me, at least. So I hope your week was well. I will post another video in a couple days, and I hope it helps. Love and light.